Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to Pre-Heresy and Codices, where I look at one Space Marine Legion per ramble, giving you my thoughts on what codex or codices would best represent that Legion in a 40k GW only army list build, and then talk a little bit about collecting that force. On the chopping block this time is the Luna Wolf / Sons of Horus Legion. This is Horus's personal legion. It's known post-Heresy as the Black Legion. So there's a bunch of different naming and color changing going on here. So aside from just pre to post heresy color scheme changes, we have color scheme change within the Great Crusade as well. So they start off as the Luna Wolves, and as such they have a color that's specific to that name, and you could also say this is their Unification era color scheme as well. At least I believe you could. I think it's a pretty safe bet to use it. But it's white power armor, or white armor I should say, with kind of black trimming going on. So almost feels like a Star Wars Stormtrooper color scheme a bit. So that's their Luna Wolf color scheme. They have their Luna Wolf symbol as well. Eventually they become the Sons of Horus Legion. And I look at that kind of a symbolic thing of going from loyal to the Emperor to loyal to Horus and becoming a traitor legion. As when they are the Sons of Horus, you can kind of use that as their fall to chaos, if you will. And the Sons of Horus Legion, which is the same legion as the Luna Wolves, just different name, has a different color. It's a green color, but it's a unique green. It doesn't really look like the other green armored stuff out there. I almost like to call it a cream type of green, like a green cream, but darker a little bit, if that makes any sense. I don't really know how to describe it. But they have that color scheme going on. They use the Eye of Horus as their symbol, and they have a much more menacing look going on as the Sons of Horus Legion. So that is their colors, pre-heresy and into the heresy. And depending upon which one you're collecting, would also kind of determine if you're going for a loyalist force or a traitor force, and really that's how I view what codex would best represent them. If you're going for a Luna Wolf, I feel the generic Space Marine codex works really well for them. If you're going for the Sons of Horus, I feel the Chaos codex works better for that. Now you could utilize the generic codex for either. It works for any legion type, but I think you get a bit more of a unique feel going with the Chaos Codex for Sons of Horus. So starting off with the Luna Wolves, if you're going to collect that, the generic Space Marine Codex would be the best way to go in my opinion. Still restrictions apply. No Land Raider Crusader or Redeemer, no Centurion squads, no counts as Legion of the Damned, and I'd stay away from the Flyers. But the rest of the codex, whatever chapter tactic you want, and associated counts as special characters, I think can work for you. Now, keep in mind the tactics of the Legion, which is very much a spear tip, go for the throat type of tactic. It works for a variety of playstyles, but just keep it in mind. So that's for the Luna Wolves. Now for the Sons of Horus, I think the Chaos Space Marine Codex gives us some unique opportunities. Now there are restrictions here. No demon engines, no mutilators or obliterators, no flyers, no possessed, and no cult marines. And those things would be like plague marines, noise marines, berserkers, or rubric marines. I call those cult marines. None of those. But marks and icons would be allowed, I would say. I think Chaos Spawn could work. The Chaos Spawn could represent kind of their making a mockery of their captives, if you will. And I think a Defiler would also be doable. And I say that because they have a pretty good, at this time, if you could say almost like an alliance or agreement with the Dark Mechanicum. And the Dark Mechanicum, having this heretical technology that they create, you could just use a Defiler kit, build a Defiler, and have that represent it that way. You could make a case for doing a counts as obliterator, making really a heretical technology mixture on a servitor, but that's more difficult and more of a build up from scratch almost type of deal. So for ease, I just say that can work for a Defiler. You just buy the Defiler kit, build it, there you go. So that's just my thoughts on what can work for that codex for a Chaos feeling type of Sons of Horus force without going straight up Black Legion. So still restrictive, but has some opportunities to make it feel different from a Luna Wolf generic Space Marine build. So no matter which way you go, when it comes to collecting them, there are some things we of course have to keep in mind. Number one, of course, no Mark 7 power armor, no Imperial Eagle stuff on their infantry either. And for Terminator armor, it's going to be Cataphractii or Tartaros only. So we have that to keep in mind. Now, there isn't much we can use from GW's side of things. If you're going Sons of Horus, you can make a bit more use out of their Chaos Space Marine bits, but still, it's not the entire kit just straight up usable, in my opinion. And of course, you can't make use of too much out of the generic Space Marine stuff because it's all done with 40k in mind, not 30k. So we're really looking at Forge World side of things here, as tends to be the case with these legions. So we have the generic Legion Astartes kits out there that you can make use of to build your Space Marine force. They'll work for any legion, and they work very well for the Luna Wolves / Sons of Horus. But really, if you want to get a nice feel of the legion you're collecting, the Sons of Horus have a full model entry range covered in their own section in the Horus Heresy part of the Forge World website. They were in the first book after all. So these things are done with the Sons of Horus in mind. I do feel you could take these things and pin them up Luna Wolf and it'll work fine, but they're all sculpted with the Sons of Horus in mind, so there is no specifically sculpted bits out there that are Luna Wolf. I was hoping for at least some shoulder pads, but that didn't happen. Just because, not that I want to collect it, but I think that would have been nice to have. But anyways, what we do have is all Sons of Horus, but like I said, paint them up Luna Wolf style, and I think it'll work. So firstly, we have the Sons of Horus squad upgrade set, which includes shoulder pads, heads, and torso upgrades. These things definitely have the Sons of Horus feel. They could work as a Luna Wolf. Now the Sons of Horus look is to be a more menacing look than a Luna Wolf look was. So if you paint them up as Luna Wolves, it's going to be particularly menacing Luna Wolves look, but which is okay. Nothing against that, just an FYI if you will. So that's the squad upgrade set. Now we also have a Legion Contemptor Dreadnought for the Sons of Horus that again could work painted up as a Luna Wolf. Not its first purpose, but could work. And we also have a Sons of Horus Legion Command. Now these guys really do show kind of the menacing look of their Legion, being more spiky and whatnot. You got a Standard Bearer and a Veteran Legionary in the Legion Command kit, so they look pretty cool. We also have Legion specific squads. We have the Sons of Horus Reaver Attack Squad. Now these guys are painted up in black armor with the appropriate color shoulder pad inset depending upon if you're going Luna Wolf or Sons of Horus. The Reaver Attack Squad you could buy and build as is, and they can represent Chosen, it can represent Vanguard veterans, and it can represent regular Assault Marines if you wanted to, with no problem. So very useful bit or very useful kit to have. Now we also have Justair Terminators. Now these guys I believe were released before the Cataphractii Terminator generic kit was released. So the Justair Terminators have their own weapon set because they don't come with weaponry, they come without hands essentially. So the weapon set will work very well for a Chaos Space Marine Terminator squad. Unfortunately, if you want to go with a shooting Terminator squad for the Space Marine Codex, you need Power Fists, and therefore you need to get the Power Fist kind of kit for generic Cataphracties. Now the one thing I'm not sure about is if the arms are separate from the Justair torsos. I imagine they would be, but if they're not, then you have to go with generic Cataphractii. I don't know for sure. Somebody could help out in the comments with that. But if they are separate from the body, then you'll have to make use of the Power Fist arm, which will look a bit more generic, but it'll still fit in just fine with the look of the Justair Terminators. So, just some food for thought there. Now we also have Abaddon and Loki models in that character series. They're sold together. While they're on a display base, they're also on their own bases that fit in there, so you can use them as regular models if you want. And that brings up something I want to make a quick mention of about Abaddon. If you're going to go with the Chaos Space Marine Codex and you want to have Abaddon lead your force, I would personally recommend you do not take it as a special character, Abaddon. That special character, Abaddon, really represents his time post-heresy, having the talent of Horus, and we're talking about the time when Horus was still alive and wielding that talent himself, and he doesn't have a demon sword yet. So while that entry is just easy to use because it's all there for you, just gotta spend the points and you're done, you may be better off building your own Chaos Lord Terminator to have equipment like Abaddon has during the Pre-Heresy and Horus Heresy time. Just some food for thought there. Now lastly, what I really like is the fact that both the Sons of Horus and the Luna Wolves have their own brass etch piece and their own transfer sheet piece. They didn't combine them together like they did with the World Leaders and the Warhounds on the transfer sheet, for example. They each have their own transfer sheet, which is basically an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, in fact a little bit bigger than that, full of transfers. So you buy one Sons of Horus or one Luna Wolf, depending upon what you're collecting, and you're basically good to go there. Very nice for the Luna Wolves, especially this brass etching and the transfer sheets, because there are no specifically sculpted details for the Luna Wolves. So you can go with the generic Legion Astarte stuff and have Luna Wolf looking vehicles and infantry because of the transfer sheets and the brass etching. The other transfer sheet, being the Sons of Horus transfer sheet and the Sons of Horus Legion brass etching, are still good to have. They can really add extra kind of pizzazz, if you will, especially to your vehicles, which don't have too much in the way of details at all aside from the Contemptor Dreadnought. They don't have any Legion, Sons of Horus Legion Rhino or Land Raider doors, for example, so this is a good way to make use of the brass etching and the transfer sheet for the Sons of Horus. But whether you want to go Luna Wolf or Sons of Horus, you are covered. Now the Sons of Horus have more purposely created stuff from all the sculpted detail kits out there, but even Luna Wolf, if you want entirely generic models for the Luna Wolf Legion look, and you got the brass etching and the transfer sheet, they'll definitely look Luna Wolf because of that fact, so that's very nice. And aside from that, that's really it to make mention of here. One thing I will say is you could go either way with this Legion itself, Sons of Horus or Luna Wolf, and not feel like you're playing something kind of out of touch. You could say, even if you're playing Luna Wolf, that maybe you're a force that was away from the Legion at the time of the Heresy, that was still Luna Wolfy, that stayed loyal to the Emperor, kind of fighting against the forces of the traitor. You could make that as a case. I'm not going to say it's 100% accurate in terms of what happened to that Legion, but you could make that as a case if you wanted to. So just want to put that out there, because sometimes people don't like to play a force that they feel is just out of the picture. Like the Luna Wolves proper became the Sons of Horus, so that's kind of a way you can kind of make it feel relevant still. But anyways, that's really it. So thanks for sticking through that ramble here for the Legion led by Horus himself. The next Legion on the chopping block is going to be the second largest Legion, second only to the Ultramarines, and that is the Word Bearers Legion. So stay tuned for that. They are the first traitors, to be honest, so I'm going to go over that in their own little ramble, of course. So stay tuned, and thanks for listening, and until next time, take it easy.